Got another submission for us today by a subscriber, and this one's actually covering a 5-MeO DMT trip, which is really awesome to see. Definitely a chemical that people don't often have the chance to do in their lives really, so the fact that one of my subs is able to share their experience with me to read out, it's an honour really, and a great opportunity for you guys to hear more about this chemical from someone within our little community. 5-MeO DMT, or 5-methoxy-NN-dimethyltryptamine, is a potent psychedelic tryptamine. It is found in a large number of plants, European mushrooms and toad species, produced in the bufo alvarius by O-methylation of 5-OH-DMT, and is closely related to the substance DMT. It has probably been used as an entheogenic agent by South American shamans for thousands of years. I'd made a year ago a bucket list, and one of the things on it was to do 5-MeO. I thought it was scary to do, but something in me knew that I would try it at least once. 1 year later my girlfriend asked me to do 5-MeO with her by a ceremony. I thought about it and I said, okay, we'll do it. She gave it to me as a present. We looked on the internet for a good place to take the 5-MeO and found a woman who did this in Amsterdam. I sent her a message that we were interested in doing a ceremony, and she told us that because of the lockdown, there was no place anymore in Amsterdam, so she told that we could do it in her apartment. We made an appointment to do the ceremony almost immediately. The day had come, and we were in the car and drove to the woman. When we were on the road it was really rainy and dark weather. 15 minutes later it was clear and we saw the sun again. We felt that this was a sign that we created in our universe. We came by the building and I thought this is really cool, but it felt really weird at the same time. Here I am going to an apartment to smoke 5-MeO DMT with someone I don't know, but I did it because I followed my intuition. I only do things like this when I really feel the urge to do it. We came in the apartment and there was 2 women there. The shaman and a friend of hers that was there to assist her. They were really nice to us. First we sat down and drank some tea. After that she was explaining what 5-MeO is and what it does. After talking a bit, the shaman, which by the way was a very loving woman, began to explain to us what we would be experiencing during the trip. This was a small part of her explanation. Bufo alvarius is a beautiful gift from the otak toad, which is only harboured from their glands during a small period, the mating season of the toads. Then they are released back into the wild unharmed. She said that Bufo alvarius is able to make you experience duality in a deep way, and that we as humans have a judgment of what is good and bad to feel and prefer to avoid and ignore our dark side. We only experience the breath of life at birth and death, but Bufo is able to give us this experience in between. It is a powerful sacred medicine, and certainly not a recreational drug. Bufo gives you a complete reset. In the experience you may find yourself experiencing your shadow side, confronting it and releasing it, and then moving back into the light. Either way, you feel relieved and lighter after this experience. Also, the experience can be just light and intense love. It varies from person to person. We do not judge the emotions, because every emotion can and may be felt. Bufo is an intense experience, and certainly not for everyone. The shaman thought it was good that we had not had any previous experiences, as we would have no expectations. 5-MeO is a complete surrender and can be very intense. Then she explained how we would inhale the Bufo. I find it very exciting and was getting more and more nervous. The 2 women said it was best for my girlfriend to go first, so I agreed. The ceremony began. Before she started she saw a very big beautiful bird flying past the window, and immediately thought of liberation and freedom. This was the last confirmation she had to have. She inhaled 1 whole serving of Bufo alvarius and almost immediately felt herself wobbling. Then she fell away and everything went black before her eyes at once. I saw that her spirit came out of her body and got in the room close by me on the sofa. Her throat clenched and she experienced an intense panic and fear, because she felt and thought I'm going to suffocate. She felt as if she was not there. No thoughts, no people, nothing. It felt like she, my consciousness, fell into a mega deep black hole and there was nothing, just darkness. The shaman immediately started chanting and making music with the shaman drum. She felt completely powerless and left to her own devices. The music was very intense, but beautiful and pure. There was no time. There was only her fear, intense feeling and emotion of intense sadness and panic. The sounds of the beautiful singing of the shaman were mega intense, but there were no persons, no I, no solid matter, just black, singing and feelings. She heard the breathing of the woman as if it went through her being. She felt one with the sounds and breathing, and it felt very calming and fine, though she felt mega strong fear vibrations. The sounds were beautiful and guided her through the darkness. Only darkness was there. When she came out of the black, her image was still blurry. She didn't feel a body. She saw the woman praying for me and doing energetic work, and the shaman came and sat lovingly next to her. She saw their movements both like slowed down frames. She had never felt so anxious in her life. Pure panic. Yet she had an inner knowing that she was in good hands. It's hard to describe with words, but she felt that something very divine was working on her. The shaman's words, "just feel," and the beautiful music and instruments calmed me down. She heard, "forgive yourself" somewhere. "Just feel," as she touched my heart. The other woman sat down behind her at one point to help her let go. Also the shaman held her head and blessed her and put a very nice smelling Florida water on her head. She felt a lot of love from both of them women. The woman also said, "God loves you." Then her mind came back and she had thoughts again. She felt some tears running down her cheeks that it was over, and that she was so well guided. When she started to feel her body again and her sense of time came back, she could sit up after a time of lying down and resting. The shaman and woman both agreed that her consciousness still wanted to release something dark, but it needed extra help. The shaman then gave her another very strong remedy called rape. She suddenly became intensely nauseated. Her forehead began to burn and she began to cough and vomit slightly. Then the shaman did it again, inside my left nostril this time. What helped a lot with the whole experience was the mantra of let go, let go, let go. That thought allowed me to relax very well and go into a surrender. After a while of being nauseated and high in true surrender, she suddenly snorted very hard and the rape came out of my nose. What her consciousness wanted to throw out was out. At once you noticed it was finally out. She had a strong sense of relief. A kind of dark tormenting energy had gone out of her that previously wouldn't go away. That's how it felt to her. The shaman and woman said they had been waiting for this and it was finally over. They said I had done them good. The shaman said my energy is very gentle. She felt very light and relieved after the session. The black cat came to her and stood on her leg, and touched her nose with his little nose. He looked at her intensely and sweetly. She liked the cat very much. After this she fully recovered and she was full of energy and felt happy. Now it was my turn. I found it tremendously exciting and almost didn't dare take it. I felt a lot of anxiety. Finally I took it and inhaled the smoke. It took something like 10 seconds and then I was completely gone. I stood first and then quietly collapsed into a fetal position. I don't remember myself doing that. When I came to consciousness, it was completely dark, and I heard the music very intense, and that my back was being rubbed. It felt like nothing was there, but there was music, the friction, and the super nice feeling. It was really a tremendously nice feeling overall. There was no time or space in this experience. It was just there. It felt very full and loving. I laughed a lot and said, "Wow," because I liked it so much. I felt and heard it, but not to my body. It was as if my body was not there, but I felt and heard it. I had apparently also said that I felt water. Later I heard that they had said I was in a womb. I lay with my head on the woman's leg and felt all tingling. Sometimes it seemed like I was lying on something, and suddenly it was also like I was going through it and feeling all the energy. Eventually I became a little more aware, and gradually noticed that I was lying around the ground. This was little by little I noticed, and didn't quite know it yet. I still felt tremendously fine and good. Finally I got sight and saw everyone, and I really saw that it was a kind of lucid dream. I saw that I was in a bubble, and I saw the world around me and really thought, wow. Everything looked so beautiful and intense. The experience was very full. I also felt that I had finally had a good night's sleep and that I had finally settled down. The woman who wrought over my back was pregnant herself. From the other woman doing the ceremony, I felt a lot of love. I was alone with 3 women and just felt a lot of love and a nice feeling. Afterwards I laid down for a while and calmed down. Everyone went off to do something else for a while and let me rest. Then I felt abandoned and alone. I noticed this was a pattern or experience of mine that I felt more often. I received a lot of love and then I was all alone and I felt like I was not looked after anymore. But in the end, this wasn't true. Just out of love they let me rest and did what they thought was best for me. I had a very nice and safe feeling after this. There was an intense presence of consciousness in the sky. Even when you feel alone, you are never truly alone. It is just an illusion that you are alone here. You are never really alone. Consciousness is always there in everything. You are never alone. There are also beings that I don't see, but that I feel and that they are there for you. And on a deeper level, you are also those beings. I also looked at the sky and felt that the divine presence was in the sky, and a kind of warm blanket over me. A white cat then came over to me, and the cat started hugging and playing with me. I put my hand to him and he started playing. The cat was very playful and sweet. There was a playful and fine energy between us. I later took some food, a date and grapes. The date was super delicious and the experience of eating the fig was super intense. The experiences were very full. Later on I got a massage and looked at the environment in the massage room, and it also looked so full and nice. It felt like I had the same feeling that when I was little. The experiences were all much fuller, finer and full of consciousness and presence. During my sleep that night I felt myself sinking back into bed a bit and still experienced the feeling of 5-MeO. In that dream that night I experienced the 5-MeO trip again, but in a dream, so in a dreamy way I actually experienced it. In the morning I felt fuller and more loving. I felt more right with myself and more self-love. This self-love also causes me not to think so much about things, like didn't I do right, etc. This 5-MeO DMT trip gave me a lot of understanding about the fullness of life and the consciousness that is everywhere. You can really enjoy this whole human experience. Consciousness is everywhere, and you are it.